Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What's up, players? Welcome back to the bankroll Rounder channel. Let's make some money today, and that's exactly what I need to be doing to get out of this drawdown. So as you can see from the equity curve here, we actually had a pretty decent drawdown in the system. I don't think it was all related to the system, but we were down, probably peak to valley, somewhere around $2,500, maybe a little bit more. Started climbing out of it, and I thought I'd do a video, probably something you haven't seen too much of, is what I've learned through this process. So I fully expect drawdowns. If you look at the business plan videos, we plan for drawdowns. We have to have capital or bankroll in reserve to deal with the drawdowns. So it's fully expected, but it came a couple days in a row, which was kind of unusual, and I think it was a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So thought I'd do a video on what I've learned during this process. Try not to make the same mistakes again, and hopefully you'll get something out of it too. So I know I must be the only channel that actually has lost money in a day or two, but trying to keep it real, show you the good and the bad. And again, what I'd like to do for this channel is not just necessarily throw a system out there, but kind of go over the thought process of surviving this game of gambling, and doing it as a kind of a second income or even a primary income here. So these are the things you need to worry about if you don't have the luxury of constantly putting more money into your bankroll here. So what happened? Well, first it started off with some pretty negative variance. I've seen it before. I don't want to whine about it, but I can't tell you how many pulls the opposite side had to beat. Must have lost probably a good 70% of the natural nines over natural eights. When I did pull a natural nine, it would tie. It was just kind of a bad session to start with, and that started it. That was day one. Not a big deal. Probably down maybe $1,000 or so, which is not out of the norm for the level that I'm playing. That was at the $50 base bet level, so I don't think that's too bad. And then I just kind of compounded these losses here and brought it down to probably more than it needed to be. So we'll go through that. So second day was typical. Try to get it back. And what compounded the issue was I had planned on traveling that day, so I didn't have time to really grind out a full session. So usually in previous videos you'll hear me talk about using statistics to choose my money management. And typically what I've done in the past is I'll start off a session with the slow martingale, just kind of ease into it, and once I get confidence that we're pretty locked in onto what the shoe is doing, I may switch to a martingale. Well, on day two, since I did have a short schedule or not a lot of time to play it, I jumped right into the aggressive money management without taking the time to fully vet out the shoe. That was certainly a mistake. Now, fortunately, I'm not one of those martingalers that'll go 8 levels deep. So the losses were manageable, but losses nonetheless. And I mentioned earlier the short schedule here. So certainly time, trying to get even with a very little bit of time, that didn't help. So that was day two. And then after that, started kind of doubting some of the process here. So I did some testing of some new strategies that did not pan out that well. Lost a little bit money there. And then there was a new roulette system that was released by one of the channels that I follow, and I tested it on the simulator. It worked good, but when I put it into actual practice, it busted on the very first time. So that was probably worth $300 or $400 there. So nothing big, but as you can see, these compounding each one of these errors, it can add up. So it's relatively a big down draw here. So the good news is, we've planned on drawdowns and we didn't bust out. So yes, we've lost some of the profits, but we were still, $12,000 in the green or for profit for the year. We didn't let the losses compound so big that you're betting your whole bankroll, try to get even. So that's good. So for the lessons learned, I would say one of the things I did do well was having a sufficient bankroll for the betting strategy, and I probably should put base bet there as well. So even though I was using an aggressive money management, I had the bankroll to deal with it. So we had a few losing sessions, but we didn't get out of the game, and that's most important. You want to be able to come back the next day to start to make back these losses, and you don't need to make your losses back in one day. In fact, you see that I haven't made them back in one day, and I'm still currently digging out of the hole. The second thing I'll learn is, and I did this, and I will vow not to do this again, is I need to plan for an adequate session time. Don't try to get a couple wins quickly, because very often what you'll find is you may go down that hole, and that's a normal session. I have a lot of sessions that I've gone down in the hole for a few units and take some time to earn them back. But I didn't have that luxury of time, so I had to cut my session short, which was at a loss. So perhaps, who knows, but perhaps that session would have turned into a win had I given enough time. And I call that that time concept the time bankroll, right? So you need to have a big enough bankroll for your bets, but you need to have enough time. And this goes for brick and mortar casinos probably even more, is you need to have enough time to fully let your system play out. The other lesson I've learned is, don't abandon what's worked. So far this year, the balance betting system has treated us pretty well. And, I started to stray from that, testing out new systems, and, just taking a break from the balance betting system, because I had a couple lost days in a row. And what's really probably a better way to do it is to step back and figure out what is going wrong, what you can improve on. So don't abandon what's worked, but modify, tweak it, slightly improve the system. And you'll see that the revs are a little bit up here. I did see some things that I could improve on the system and have coded those into the algorithm. And then the final thing, and I think I sort of did this, but probably could do a little bit better, is stay on plan. So I didn't panic. I didn't start doubling or tripling my base bets to try to get all that money back in one fell swoop. Just working the plan, letting the system work, and as you can see, I've had a couple good days, probably up about $900 yesterday, and I think currently we're up about $600 or $700 today. Just grinding it back. Fully expect that I will reach a new equity high, a new peak in the profits. May take me a few days, may take me a week, but fully expect to get back there here. But stay tuned. We'll let you know the results, good, bad, or indifferent here. But as you can see, we did have a pretty decent downswing, and now we're back up and have at least passed that peak here and on our way back to new highs here. So I thought that was useful to write down some of the things I've learned. Still haven't dug completely out of the hole, but that being said, we've had some of these downward spikes as well, and we've got back on the bandwagon and climbed to new highs. So hopefully you found some value out of that. Next time you find yourself in a drawdown, maybe take a couple of these points and see what you could do to improve it. And I think some of the biggest things I see is people just give up on a system that's worked in the past. Don't do that. Just try to improve what you have. Make sure you have enough bankroll, you have enough time to do it, and then stay on your plan here. You'll know when your plan's not working, and that may be subjective on when to abandon a plan. But if you have one or two losing days, as long as you've planned for those in your business plan, you should come out through in the end, and we'll see how we're going to do here. So that being said, we'll be putting out a couple more videos this week, and then it might get a little sparse. Planning a trip to Las Vegas next week. So I'll be in Vegas. If any of you are out there, we'll be in Vegas towards the end of next week. Let me know. Maybe we can plan to meet and discuss strategies here. So that's all for now. Thank everyone for watching the videos and liking and subscribing. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do so. I'd like to grow the channel. We've gained a few subscribers this week, and I appreciate that. And if you have any ideas on things you'd like me to talk about or discuss, let me know. And for that, I appreciate everyone coming by, and we'll see you next time on the Baccarat Rounder.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.